everyone, welcome to this week's Down the Rabbit Hole. This week we are talking about one of my favourite quilts that I've ever made, ever, in my whole life. When I'm doing an interview or something like that for a magazine or whatever, people often ask me what my favourite ever quilt is. And it's very hard to pick. It's like choosing one of your children. Bit of a cliche, but there it is. However, this one would be in my top, probably 2 or 3. This is one of my favourite quilts ever. There's a lot of reasons for it. One of the reasons for it is that it's inspired by an antique quilt. You will, if you know anything about antique quilts, you'll know that there are a lot of eagle quilts in antique quilting, particularly in American quilting, but not only in American quilting. There's some English quilts as well that have eagles on them, eagles being a symbol of royalty, power, all of those sorts of things. And you'll often see the eagles flying into the centre. It's just the way these quilts are frequently put together. The tails on this eagle I have pieced like a Dresden wedge. So they've been pieced out in a fan like this. And every second tail has a shot cotton on it, just give it a little bit of depth like that. The applique is quite large and relatively easy. So even if you're a beginner, you could make this quilt. The backgrounds are pieced together, and I've used a whole lot of different low volume prints. This was made a long time ago, before these things were called low volume, and it was all very trendy to be low volume. It was just the fabrics that I chose. And this wonderful Japanese print fabric is one of my all-time faves. I absolutely love it, and I really like the effect of that triangle piecing on the top of it. I've just always enjoyed it. This quilt was made during a time in my life that was extremely difficult. There were some very, very scary things going on in my life in one way or another, and the quilt's called A Wing and a Prayer. It's from my book, Quilting from Little Things, and there are a lot of thoughts and feelings pieced into this quilt. A lot of my quilts have a moment in time, and if you make things with your hands, you'll know what I mean. Frequently fabrics you've used or colours you've used in yarn or a particular piece that you've made will remind you of what you were watching on television when you made it, where your grandchildren when they were small. Like, those things come back to you when you see those things that you made. This quilt holds a huge amount of emotion for me because of that. It has travelled the world. It's been in competitions all over the globe. It's hung in France, it's hung in the Netherlands, it's hung in America, it's hung in England, it's hung everywhere. It's won awards. It's quite the quilt. Do you want to know the funniest thing though? When I put it up here this morning, I realised that after all the travel and the times it's been photographed and the awards and all of those things, I didn't ever finish quilting this wing. Look, this wing doesn't have any quilting inside it, and this wing does, and all of the others do, but this wing doesn't. So there you go. Sorry, judges who've awarded me prizes for this quilt. One of the wings I didn't finish quilting. So look, you find out all of the secrets here on Down the Rabbit Hole. Davian's pointing at things. That's why I said I know. So back to the story of the actual quilt and where it is. So you can find it in my book, Quilting from Little Things, which we discussed in the last Down the Rabbit Hole episode. Quilting from Little Things is probably my favourite book that I've ever written. Probably that one and Old Quilt's New Life, my two faves. So favourite book, favourite quilt. So the pattern is in the book. It's also available in PDF and paper at the website, like all of them are. Now, if you haven't watched last week's Down the Rabbit Hole, you will not know that all of the quilts in this book have a small quilt and a large quilt. And the purpose for that is that you can try the small quilt, try a technique, try the small quilt, and then if you enjoy it, make the large quilt. So here is the small quilt that goes with A Wing and a Prayer. This one is called, can't remember. Isn't that terrible? Can't remember what it's called. The little quilt that goes with A Wing and a Prayer. So it has the little tiny eagle. The applique on this one is much easier than the slightly pointy, like little feet and stuff like that on the other one. This is also hand appliqued and hand quilted. I hand quilted this with normal quilting thread, not with big stitch, which is why it looks a little finer. And then you'll see I've pieced all that background in. So it's a little more chaotic than the other quilt. You could easily just do it on a plain piece if you wanted to, if you were just testing things out. The idea of these little quilts, by the way, is that you can hang them on the wall. So a doll quilt was traditionally something little that was made by a little girl learning her first patchwork. So she might have cut out squares or triangles or what have you, and then sewn them all together and, you know, put them on her dolly or something like that. And so that's why I call them doll quilts. Some people call them doll quilts, some people call them small quilts. This is not a mug rug. Don't let me hear any of you talking about a mug rug. This is not a mug rug. So I call them dolly quilts. I've run a lot of dolly quilt programs over the years, and I have a lot of doll quilt patterns. And I used to run the dolly quilt program at the shop when we had Material Obsession. I've run them online since. This book has them in. My current lemonade stand project has them in. So if you like the idea of making them, what I do with them is I put them on the wall. So I have a whole wall of doll quilts that rotates in my studio, and they just look so fun and gorgeous together. I will put a picture of my doll quilt wall up on social media at some point. There are some pictures of another doll quilt wall in a different house in the book, in the Quilting from Little Things book. But if you Google doll quilt wall, you'll find a whole bunch of them. There's a lot of other people that do them as well. I think Camille Rose Kelly has a beautiful doll quilt wall in her studio, a couple of other people, and they really look fun all together. It's a fun way of making something small and instantly satisfying to try a new project, a new technique or a new fabric or a combination of things together. Frequently when I'm designing a larger quilt, I'll make a little quilt just to see if I'm happy. And sometimes if I have an idea that I can't get out of my head and I don't have time to make a whole quilt because I have other deadlines, I'll make a little doll quilt to kind of scratch my itch. They're just fun. They're fun and cute and satisfying and quick. So there you are. That is the little quilt. That is the big quilt. I hope that if you make it, you'll send me a picture, because I really love it, and I've seen it made in so many different colours and styles and everything over the years, and every single one of them makes me happy because it's a beautiful quilt. Thanks for joining me. See you next week.